Okay. All right. It looks kind of dark. I hope it's not too dark. I hope everybody can see me on here. Okay. Peace and love, everybody. Peace and love. Peace and love. So, I know I didn't go live the other night for that full moon in Taurus, but I had several inboxes and people asking me why I didn't go live, and people wanting to know if I was going to go live or if I was going to go through it about how it affected everybody. And so I said, I'm going to go live then. So peace and love, Mike, peace and love, everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and go live. Let me know if y'all can see me because it gets dark early, as we all know. And so it's darker than I expected it to be in this room in my office. But let me know if y'all can see me good. I don't want to, it looks kind of dark, kind of creepy. But all is well, all is well. Peace and love. So I want to go back over that full moon in Taurus, and then I definitely want to talk through the sun in Scorpio. The sun in Scorpio, it's a lot, you guys. It's a lot. And it's going to be very broad as always, but I do want to go through what it meant for everybody and what it still means, because the energy is still going to be going on. But the actual day was for Saturday, and then it actually went on from Sunday and a little bit of Monday. And so the energy still continues. Okay. Peace and love. Peace and love, Shamika. Thank you. Thank you. I'm hoping y'all can see me well, because the way it looks on my phone, all I see is my face. But I do have on a black shirt, and the room is dark. So, all is well. All is well. Oh, thank you. Girl, you know my eyes big. So, I just been doing a little something different. But all is well, you guys. I hope y'all can see me. If you can, then this is good. But that full moon in Taurus was all about Taurus. And it was all about the moon sign, the sun sign, and ascendant. Specifically that moon sign, okay, and how you feel. And it was talking about the vibration overall, and it was talking about how comfortable we all felt and how secure we felt with things that we were doing. And you have to remember too that that was a full moon in Aries earlier in the month. So earlier in the month, that was what, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of October. That was that full moon in Aries, and they were both in the same month, and so they had a whole lot to do with each other, and they had a whole lot of influence on each other and on your behavior. And so that's 28 days in between, which is a full moon cycle. 28 days in between has a whole lot to do with that energy, all in the same month. Things we needed to collect. There was a lot of shadow work that we all needed to do, a lot of root work we all needed to do, and this all had to do with our root chakra. And this is talking about our sacral chakra and our heart chakra, things that need to be mended in areas where we're already strong at. And so this was really, really good for healers. This is still a time for healers, and this is a time for us to use that energy to mend others and help make repairs in other people's lives. And this is the time for us to come out. You know, Scorpio season, or when we go in the fall and as things get darker and it gets colder, okay, people need a whole lot of attention, special attention. And so this is a time counselors, therapists, massage therapists, readings, anything like that. A lot of people are going to their pastors, all of that. This is a time where people really want to uncover things, and this is a time where a lot of things are going to be uncovered and revealed. Peace and love, Tiffany. Peace and love, Elijah. Peace and love, everybody. Ayana. Oh, thank you, Ayana. Thank you. I've been drinking more water. Like, I drink water, y'all, but I've been drinking more water, and I've been adding some stuff to it, some cilantro and like lemon and little stuff. But you know, trying to cleanse myself, and this is the time. So let's get into that. Let's get into the body really quick. So it's talking about your sacral chakra, Scorpio season, and we're talking about your heart chakra. Now Saturday, that full moon was talking about your root chakra, and it was talking about your respiratory system, because Taurus is talking about your senses and how you can take things in, breathing. So that's why it's talking about taking time to smell the flowers. When you're talking about Taurus, you're talking about the king or the queen of the zodiac. You're talking about pacing, taking your time. You're talking about the royalty of it all. You're talking about the value of it all. And that's what Saturday was about. And Saturday gave a whole lot of light, shed a whole lot of light for the rest of your month. So that was a really good time to pay attention to anything that happened, people you were around, situations that took place Saturday, Sunday, like the entire weekend. And I just say the whole weekend was full moon energy. Okay, and then like I say, it's where you feel secure mentally, physically, and spiritually. So which is why we call Taurus the king or the queen. They love security. They love dealing with money, and it's not just to spend it, okay, because they like to have the money, but they don't like, they're spendthrift. Okay, so they like to look for the value in things. They like to make sure that there's quality in what they're doing, who they're with, and who they're around. So all of us, let's just say, we're like Tauruses this past weekend. All right, pacing, taking your time is still a bull. So there's a lot of value to everything that it's doing. So this is why there's quality in every step. Okay, and that's why they work so hard. This is why they love beautiful things. When you talk about Tauruses, you go into a Taurus's house, they have a lot of beautiful things, art, all of that. But the thing is, none of the stuff, a lot of times, they didn't pay full price for. Okay, they know how to get a good deal. They know how to talk. They know how to negotiate very well, because they're ruled by Venus, which also rules Libra. So they're really good at bargaining. Okay, so they can have really nice things, and it's at a decent price, and it looks like they spent $1 million on it, and the $1 million is still in their account. Okay, and so Tauruses can sometimes be a little stingy too, but we ain't gonna get into that. All right, so but that was a time for all of us to feel royal, to feel like that king, that queen, however, and to sit on that throne. And because what's under the throne for the rest of the month is that Scorpio. So this is why the sun and the moon were doing a little dance, and this is going back to your alignment. So this is how you're going to figure out what your alignment is going to be like for the rest of the month. And that's why I always say your alignment is going to feel like something, it's going to look like something, it's going to be certain people right aligned with you. Okay, so the sun and the moon were at 180 degrees. What you want to do is get across the street safely in life. So what you're doing is trying to get across that street 180 degrees. Of course, we call that an obtuse angle. So this is where we can go like this. So this is all we're doing, is a linear line, just trying to go across, right? So this is all we're doing. This is what alignment is, when we can make straight lines to what we're doing, and things are not challenging, causing too many challenges that can take away from what we're doing. And so for that full moon in Taurus, it has a whole lot to do with whatever everybody had going on at the beginning of the month with that full moon in Aries. That full moon in Aries was a lot to do with your awareness and whether you can see things you needed to know, proper knowledge to certain situations. So that full moon in Aries, either you were the hero or you needed somebody to save you. And if that's the case, that brings that energy onto that full moon in Taurus, where, like I say, you were the king or the queen, or you were the peasant. You needed something, and that goes back to whatever you did not do, or whatever you did not acquire, or whoever you did not meet or do things with or make amends with or even contract with at the beginning of the month. This is why some people may have had a fallout for their full moon in Taurus. So this is why you want to follow the sun and the moon all the time. They always do a little dance. The moon does a lot of work at night, of course. So when the sun aligns with it, the sun is going to shine light on things that was happening behind you. So this is why that's called the shadow work. What was happening behind what was going on in your life, wherever the sun was. So whenever there's a full moon, the sun is saying, hey, let's pay attention to that. Well, however many days, however many hours or whatever that the moon is full, you need to pay attention. The mama and daddy is in the room together, you guys, and they're talking. And you either going to be in trouble or you about to get something, which is why some of our full moons are uncomfortable and other people's full moons are just quite fantastic, because they were in the room discussing whether you made good grades or not and whether you should get what you asked for or not. Okay, so that's why when they come back out that room, you want to make sure that you were doing what you were supposed to do. Now, what you were supposed to do, we're talking about Scorpio now. The sun being in Scorpio, Scorpio is telling you to, like I say, with Mercury there, and now the sun is there. With Mercury there, actually Mercury's in Libra now, but when Mercury was there, and it's going to come back through there when it goes back direct. He was saying clean out different areas of your life for your healing, for the renovations to be made. And also before we go into Sagittarius season, before we bring the favor and the bliss, and before we can make things bigger, we got to get small before we can get big. And so that's why Scorpio is saying, let's rid ourselves of things. Let's kind of almost even disappear. Let's take everything off of the map so we can start all the way over. So this is why Scorpio is taking you, like I say, to the basement of your life and let's see what we want and what we don't want, what we need and what we don't need. And so we have to be very selective about the people we have in our life. And we also have to make decisions, right, that are going to help us by the end of the year. Well, it's not really the end of the year astrologically, but the end of the calendar year, which is in December. So the end of the calendar year, which is in December, which, like I say, goes to Sagittarius season, which is where we expand things, go further. We're talking about our future, where we're really making things go bigger than they were before. They're going to be very broad. Okay, and so now, with the sun being there, we have to make sure, because when Mercury was just there, we had to feel through what was happening when Mercury was retrograding in Scorpio. Now that the sun is here, you can feel it and you can see. Okay, the sun is what I call the flashlight. So now you actually have help. You have assistance. The sun is actually revealing things, which is why sun in Scorpio can be very challenging. So this is why sun sign Scorpios can be very challenging people, or it appears to be, or it feels to be sometimes. And sometimes they encounter their own personal challenges because Leo and Scorpio challenge each other. So when the sun is in Scorpio, you know, that's very uncomfortable for someone that is actual sun sign Scorpio, Scorpio ascendant, someone who has a moon. Scorpio, the moon in Scorpio is a detriment. So these are people who naturally always feel like this, who have to put in work all the time to get back to their comfort or to get back to their light. And so let's get into Scorpios. These are our healers, you guys. These are some of the most powerful people you're ever going to come across in your entire life. Okay, but they have to be in higher self and they have to be healed and renovated in order to be that. Because Scorpios naturally just come into the world with problems. We all do, right? But theirs are way bigger than everybody else's, or it appears to be. And they feel it. And the reason why that goes back to their trauma, and that goes back to because in higher self, as they grow and as they ascend, they're going to be a healer. But they got to feel it first. They got to feel what they're going to mend first. So this is why even as a child, Scorpios tend to be kind of mean, or they can appear to be, or manipulative, or they go through things, traumatic things happen to them. They go through very dark things. I always say mental, physical, or spiritual molestation. So mental abuse. Somebody abusing them, taking them down, taking them out, embarrassing them. And that's the thing with Scorpios. Embarrassment is a thing, okay, you guys? Because Scorpios are very private. They like to be in the back. You know, they like to be in the corners of a party, of a room, of a situation. They like to observe. They like to be by the exit. Scorpios and Virgos, they love to be by exit, right? They're always thinking. That's why they work so very well together. Sometimes too good, okay? They get in trouble, all right? And so you have to think about Scorpios, and it goes back to, like I say, the mental molestation, the spiritual molestation. Knowing your powers, even as a child, knowing more than what you can even put into words, feeling more than what you can feel, and already having that death early. All right, that death of who you were supposed to be, because our ancestors are always choosing vehicles, you guys. So this is why we all have an awakening, and you're not the person you were anymore, and that person died. The ancestors are always choosing vehicles. They always need a new vehicle. There's always a mission to finish or to accomplish. And so this is why when energy doesn't go anywhere, right? Energy doesn't disappear. Okay, so what it does is it just goes back to the light. So this is why we will feel things, we'll have ideas, and there's nothing new under the sun. This is where our ancestors come from. So when we go back to ancestors, let's go back to Scorpio. These are some straight up ancestors, okay? And so this is why sometimes, that's why I mean they can still feel things that they can't put into words. That spiritual molestation, asking mama, asking grandma, asking this person, that person about things, putting things together when you're reading through the Bible or the Quran or however, and not being able to get those answers, or somebody damn near making you feel like you're crazy, or that you're losing your mind, or that what they say, you're blaspheming God and those things like that. All right. They put oil all on your head. They prey on you. They take away. They make you think that you're power. They take you to a therapist. All those things. They think something's going on with you because of questions that they can't answer. And sometimes these are some of the same questions that your parents had because they passed on the DNA, right? So a lot of times they're scared too, and they don't have the answer. And so this is why they'll talk you out of your gift. All right. And the first molestation, a lot of us have experienced, okay, mental and spiritual. Okay. I know people have physically experienced things, but right now I'm just talking about the mind and the spirit and your power. Those are our parents. Why? Okay. Because it goes back to a lot of us grew up in church, and what is one of the main commandments? Honor thy father and thy mother, and those days will be long. So a lot of us didn't question our parents, and a lot of us, our parents didn't give us rights, okay? And so you were a whole God, 6 years old, 7 years old, you a whole God. And you're asking questions. You're in a new vehicle. You're just trying to see how your vehicle works, right? And a lot of our parents didn't teach us how to drive our vehicles. So a lot of us are wandering around now needing parts to our vehicle, okay? And so a lot of our parents were the main ones saying, go to bed. Why are you asking me that? What you talking about? You know? And they make you feel silly, or they embarrass you and all those things. And so what do? You tuck it away. Maybe I shouldn't ask those questions. You're on medicine now. Whatever. You bad. You got ADHD. You're fucking up, right? You're just thinking you're crazy, right? And so this is why we don't do these things, right? We don't explore these things. So this is why a lot of us 30 years old, 40 years old, oh shit, I'm God. Oh shit, I can hear people's thoughts. I think I'm an empath. We all starting to read stuff and look stuff up. I think I can do that. I knew I was hearing stuff at this age, that age, or however. Why? So now look at all these years where you could have gotten ahead and you could have been using your gift properly. You could have been helping others, all those things. Now I'm talking about Scorpio. This is Scorpio energy in general, but this is also Sun in Scorpio. These people were born this way. These people were born with questions that couldn't be answered, and they had to walk the walk, and they actually had to go in the dark and understand their darkness and understand their pain. And this is what's going to make them the best healers. Okay, they can feel everything you feel. They can feel everything, and so you have to think about that. And that's why I say in lower self, you'll meet a Scorpio, which is why they get a very bad rep for being mean, manipulative people, for being sneaky people, and all of those things. And this can be very true, okay? It ain't a lie, okay? But this is in lower self, meaning lower self, and I've explained it before, you guys. Lower self is simply when I don't feel like I have the time, the money, the energy, when I feel like I'm in lack. A lack mind is lower self. When I feel like I can't use my God, you go straight to that dog, which a lot of us do. So a lot of us utilize our dog and don't use our God. A lot of us have never even met our God because we are so used to that dog. That dog is always on the front porch of our life. And so we're quick to bite people, snap at people, however. And we never move that energy up to meet the God of it all. And so this is why doing your root work is so important. Going in the shadows is so very important because you learn so much about yourself and you're okay with the things that happen. And then you can make yourself more open to other people who have the same testimony. And so that's why I say you have to understand your gift because you have a key. And you're unlocking so many other people when you use your gift, when you talk about what's happened to you, all of those things. And so you have to be able to face it first. Okay, and you have to be able to go through it. And so this is even in relationships. A lot of us don't know our pain tolerance. A lot of us don't know our pain tolerance and what we're willing to deal with. And that's why even in relationships, we don't know what to walk away from. And we haven't been taught that. Why? Because the main relationship a lot of us are in are with our parents. And that's one relationship a lot of us have never been able to walk away from because the Bible told us so. And I'm not telling anybody to walk away from your family. I'm not telling you to walk away from your parents. I'm saying walk away from the conditioning. They can still be your parents. Mama is always going to be mama. Daddy is always going to be daddy. But damn it, you ain't passing it on to me. Okay? The dependency and all of those things, the ignorance, all of those things, that stops right here, right now, today. Because there's a bus and there's a train coming and it's coming to get our children. And we want to make sure they're ready and prepared. Okay? We want to make sure this thing keeps going and going and going. And so the ignorance stops here today. And so this is why Sun and Scorpio, the time is so important because there's a flashlight saying, look at this, look at this, look at this. And you have to know where your triggers are. And that's why I say you have to know what you're willing to walk away from. And we have never known our rights around our parents. Our parents we've been in situations, a lot of us, where they were dead ass wrong. and we had nobody to speak up for us. We did not have a third party. You knew spiritually, you knew mentally, you just knew from watching TV and just being in other situations, being in other people's house. Like, I just know this ain't normal, right? And so that goes back to the molestation. I can't speak on what's happening, and I'm supposed to just take it. And if I say something, now I'm going to hell and all of this. So now you're thinking negatively of yourself and of what you can do and what you know is right for you. And this even goes back to your birth chart, knowing how you work. And if your parents knew this, a lot of us wouldn't be in such binding situations, and our minds wouldn't be in bondage about the way we should move. And so we have to understand that, you guys. You know, when you get in your vehicle, a lot of us have so many buttons that work towards gifts, abilities, and so many things that are outlets for even other people. And that's what I'm saying. And you're stalling. And you're stalling, and you have no license and no rights and no privileges or any of those things, because our parents have snatched them from us, but somebody has snatched them from them, you guys. And so this is why the things are the way they are. But anyway, don't let me go on my soapbox. Sun in Scorpio, this is what it's all about. What are you willing to get rid of, and do you know your triggers? Your triggers are anything when somebody names a person, a place, a thing. And if you still doing that, you still cringing when somebody names a certain person's name, you know, when you ride past a certain place, when you do a certain thing and it's still a trigger, whether you stop doing it, whether it was some type of alcohol, smoking, whatever it is, and you still cringe and you can't just be still, which is why Scorpio and higher self has control. Okay. And so in lower self, they lack control. Okay. In lower self, they're the worst. They're terrible. Okay. And this is why I speak so highly of them when they do the work and when they are everything that they're supposed to be. And that goes back to that darkness. They're the furthest from the sun. So Pluto is the furthest from the sun. And so everybody else is, you know, getting a little bit of light. So everybody else a little bit festive, especially when you're talking about Mercury and Venus. They can't go but so far from the sun, right? And so Scorpio, Pluto, I would say, furthest from the sun, less light. So that's why they regenerate in the darkness, meaning that makes them the most powerful. They don't need the sun like that. But this is also why they challenge the sun, because they can move in the darkness when the sun creates the light and maintains our life. And so it's a beautiful thing, but it can be a scary thing when the sun is in Scorpio. And that goes back to if you have secrets and things you don't want revealed, things you don't want to know, all of those things. Yeah, the sun is here, and the sun is very powerful, and it's not going to go away. And so that's why you're supposed to clean things out when Mercury was in Scorpio. Unfinished business, you know, unfinished business and things you needed to take care of and conversations you needed to be had. And so when the sun got here, which it is now, there's nothing you worried about when mama come in there and be like, let me come in that room and let me see what you got going on in here. Or when you get inspected, because Scorpio deals with inspections and Scorpio deals with investigations. And so they love being very thorough. They have really good eyes, especially people with Scorpio ascendant. My goodness, those eyes, they can see right through you. They can see right through you. Okay. And so it's like X-ray vision. You know what I mean? And so that's a powerful thing, but it can be a scary thing being around somebody like that, because it makes them an excellent judge of character, you know, and that makes them a very good judge of everything. So you can't lie to them. They can kind of see right through it, kind of thing. And so you want to pay attention to that. And you want to pay attention to them, because if they're not highly healed properly, sometimes they can very much judge someone in the wrong direction, and they're not having their stuff together. And that goes back to in lower self. But you want to do proper inspections on your life. You want to do proper inspections inside, internally. So this is why at the heart chakra, you want to be mended. You want to have good desires here. You don't want it to be cold here. And this goes back to different exercises and all of that we can all do. This is why it works on your posture and what you're doing with yourself. Scorpio is dealing with your urinary system and your reproductive system. And so that's why it goes back to drinking plenty of water and resting. Anytime that the sun is in a water sign, you want to rest properly. You want to cleanse properly. You want to cleanse your body, and you want to make yourself rid your energy of anything that you don't need. And that's why you'll notice people in your life, once you cleanse yourself, when you diet, when you do those things, and certain energies you're not holding in your body, and that goes back to your energy points, which are your chakras. Some of the same people can't come around you anymore, all right? Because that bullshit that you had inside of you, is literally not there anymore. And so that energy that kept them coming to you is no longer there, is no longer present. So it's gonna kind of like repel them. And so there's no reason for them to communicate with you, talk to you, any of those things when you are cleansed. So that's why I say you don't have to work hard when you're smart. There's no whole bunch of measures you have to do to keep negative energy away from you. You just take care of you. They're gonna cancel themselves out. This is still math, you guys. They're gonna cancel themselves out. Just take care of yourself. All is well. And so Scorpio is that dark ditch, those dark waters you don't want to get caught up in. But the people who are secure, who can afford it, they're ready to jump. So that's why their shadow work is being secure. Can I afford whatever lessons that may be here at the end of the month? Because there's a lesson here. And so there's something that condemn your light just as much as the light is coming through Scorpio. There is something that condemn it. And so this is why you want to make sure you're getting closer to your light. And the work of it is taking care of yourself, being honest about the things that happen to you, not being scared. And if you're not healed, go to a healer. Go to somebody that can mend you and put you back together. Go to the salvage yard of your life, which I always speak of, where you can get the proper mending, where you can choose the parts, where you need this or you need that, and you get it. And like I said, sometimes the most damage has come from our family. And so you don't realize you've been around your family for so long. You don't realize how fucked up your car was till you get out in the world and people like, hey, man, you need some work done. You like, word? I've been riding around with my car like this for years. I feel like I've been getting pretty far. But think about it. When somebody say you could have gotten further, right? Because of certain things that you're missing from your vehicle, or not even things that you're missing, certain things you never use. That's why when you go to a mechanic, when you go to the doctor, when you go to a astrologer, a tarot reader, like whoever, a massage therapist, whoever, somebody that's doing energy work on you, and they be like, hey, you know you could do this, you could do that. They tell you different things about you, and you be about to cry, or be things you've already felt all the time. And then you think about it. I'm not blaming anybody's parents. What I'm saying is you don't realize how many of your issues come from your family. Some of us come from decent families, but a lot of our relationships and all of those things are so conflicted. And the way we've gone about relationships goes back to a lot of us don't have a degree in family. And you have to have a degree in family. You're gaining degrees through your life. And so to have a degree in family, you have to go deeper. And a lot of us don't know how to have people's back. We don't know how to look out for somebody else. We don't know how to just do something and not be like, oh yeah, pay me back. You got that money, and just charge it to the game. Why? Because some of our own family do that. You got that money. You got that money I lent you. Hurry up. What you need? Hurry up. They rushing you. They don't really want to do it. The energy all bad. But like I say, a lot of us, all we have around us is family. So, you're being mentally abused. You don't even know what family really even acts like, feels like. You hiding your own shit around your own family. All of those things. So a lot of people, when they get around friends, and they get in relationships and marriages, you hiding your money from your damn mate. You're hiding stuff and all of those things. You're not keeping it honest. You mad. Your husband, your wife got to pay you back. All that. And all of those things. You have to think about that. And all of that came from a lot of us not being raised properly. And in our family, our parents weren't raised properly and their parents weren't raised properly. It's a conditioning. So that's why we have to decide when something doesn't feel right, that spirit, even if it's something you never saw before, it's something don't feel right. So that's that Scorpio energy internally. Something about something is not right. It's not always going to be something outside of you. A lot of times it's going to be something inside of you. You have to see inside. You have to trust what's within. And that's why your relationship with the divine has to be on point. And it has to be so amazing, you guys, because you have to trust self when things are taking place. And I'm saying this because a lot of us have to look back. And that's why I say sometimes your hindsight is better than you have to have your hindsight, but sometimes it's better than your foresight and your insight. Because your foresight is the future and your insight is right now, but that hindsight will tear your ass up. Okay, looking backwards and seeing how things could have went. But also that hindsight gives us a lot of strength to our gifts. Sometimes you have to look back when you were in a situation, when you were scared. You have to look back when something almost happened and you had to use your intuition, or you like, oh, something told me. And stop saying something, you guys. Name that thing. That's mama. You got to give honor to whatever is speaking to you through your body. And you can hear it a whole lot louder when you're healthy. Okay? And so anyway, the reason why I'm saying this is so we can start teaching our children. This is going back to breaking curses. We have to start teaching our children their gifts and teaching our children how to trust their body and trust things that's happening within them. Okay, and so a lot of us didn't get that training. And that's why I say a lot of us, our parents made us hug people and made us go to certain people's house and people you just didn't want to be around. And a lot of terrible things have happened when a lot of us, when our parents have left us with certain people and things like that, or we're in desperate situations throughout our lives. And just some things you just couldn't get out of. And that's fine. And what is not fine is going to be fine as we grow. And then you realize that everything isn't wrong, everything isn't right. You just realize things happen. And you realize sometimes you got to take one for the team, whether it's for your own children or whether it's for somebody else's child, whether you end up writing it in a book, whether you end up doing a live or whatever you end up doing with your life. Sometimes you realize that you took one for the team and you took one for nobody else has to do it. Okay, and so this is going back to universal love. Sometimes a lot of us are going to go through things and you don't have to say, why me? And so when you take that out of your life, the why me, the alignment tells you, and the more aligned you are, the more you're going to start saying, say no more. You understand? So your language starts to change when you're aligned. And so when things have happened, when you look back in the past, and even when you cringe at certain things, that's okay. And that's why you take note. And that's why you look at where you are now and those things aren't happening anymore. And those people aren't around you anymore. And so you're different now. And it's not the same anymore. You don't wear that size anymore. And you're bigger now. And this is why you're going to tell somebody else what happened, so that they can grow too. So somebody else can hear that song that you're singing. And they be like, word, that's my song too. I know the words to that song that happened to me too. All is well. And so this is why I say, each one teach one. Each one teach one at a time, you guys. And so the universal love is, the bliss isn't just yours, but the pain isn't just yours. It's all of ours. It's all of ours. The money you make is not just for you. You never be able to spend all the money that you make, and so that money, when you realize that you get to a certain point in your life, that's everybody's money, because you're going to always end up doing something for somebody else, and when you go through things, and painful things happen in your life, you realize that that's everybody's pain, because everybody still loves you, or somebody else went through it too, or you went through it for somebody else, like I say, so nobody else has to. And so this is why we express ourselves. And this is why, like I say, some of the most beautiful things come out of the darkness, which is why Sun in Scorpio is so powerful and so beautiful. It can be a very challenging time. It is a fall. It's fall time. All right. And so this is why things start to fall. So this is why things is starting to get colder, literally and figuratively. And so you have to pay attention to the waters now, so you can pay attention to the temperature next month, because Sagittarius is all about the temperature. It's a fire sign, and it's going to spread. All right. So that's why I say you have to get small to get big. And so this is why everything is with business and astrology. And so it's supply and demand. And so Taurus is our supply, but Scorpio is the demand. And so right now, when you're down to nothing, that's why I'm saying this is what makes people more important in your life, when you don't see them as much. So supply and demand is even in death. When somebody completely disappears or somebody passes away, you start to miss them more. They seem bigger in your life when they're smaller. Okay. And so I would say in relationships and all of that, people's relationship are getting more intense right now, coming from that Sun in Libra, going into the Sun in Scorpio. So that goes back to, that's why I say the Sun in Libra a lot of times is the marriage or the connection. Sun in Scorpio is the consummation. Now we really getting busy. Or Sun in Libra was the argument, the divorce, the breakup sometimes, the disagreement. And then that's why Sun in Scorpio can be the darkness, the depression, the sadness. Things get more intense in that kind of way. So it just depends on what happened in your Sun in Libra. So I hope I'm explaining that properly. There's always just a good or not even a bad. There's either you got the bliss or you got the lesson in every season. So that's why there's certain alignment. This is what the Sun has promised you. And so the Sun is promising you through this Scorpio season to be very powerful, to renew things. People might be making repairs on their cars, actually, on their houses, things like that, making repairs to their mind, making repairs to their spirit. A lot of people, like I say, might be going through therapy and things like that right now, counseling. You're quite okay with that. You're aligned when you're doing that. Anybody that's doing like AA or any type of recovery, things like that, you're so on point, because that's that Mercury retrograde. you're on point right now, you know. So a lot of times, you, like I say, you want to know what it feels like, what it looks like. It's certain people you're going to be around. So that's why I say your sun in Scorpio, either you're going to be the healer or you need the healing, and you're still aligned if you need the healing. That's still alignment. If you're not the one, it seems like, doing the good part or having the good job, you're still aligned, even when things are not going right in your life, because this is why in lower self, the universe is always going to provide you with people in their higher self. And this is why in higher self, you're going to always, a lot of times, attract people that are in their lower self. So when you get to where you want to go, that's why I say you turn back around, that elevator goes down. You got to go back and save somebody else. You don't just go out, up. So, you know, you make room for someone else all the time. But I'm sorry if you know how physical love. I don't know. I'm sorry for getting somebody's message. Okay. Harris Cedric, I don't know. I mean, you're right. I don't know if I said something. I don't know if you're agreeing with me or disagreeing or just giving information, but I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think what you just said was beautiful. All is well. I don't know if you just jumped in and was like, let me put a little razzle dazzle, but you did, and I'm okay with it. Put a little razzle dazzle on in there. I'm cool with that. But yeah. Love is not just a physical thing. And I mean, that goes back to just being very spiritual. It's not a physical thing. It's a very, very spiritual thing. And it goes back to love is the breath. Love is, and spirit is the breath. So when you're breathing, that's why I say love is whoever you can breathe around properly. And I'm talking about breathing from your stomach. So that's why I say dealing with the chakras and dealing with love. Because love is everywhere. You are love, right? But when you're around somebody that you can breathe around properly, that's why I say spirit is breath. So you have to check your breathing around certain people. All right. Some people you breathing hard. Some people you can't catch your breath. Certain people you know, certain people you just, your heart beating fast, nervousness, anxiety, all of those things. And that's why I say know yourself, learn yourself, and get to know your body. And this is why a lot of people mistake anxiety and nervousness for love. And that's not love. Love is completely, when you're resting, when you're meditating, those things that you do when you're praying, when you're alone, that same feeling that you're alone is the same feeling you'll feel when you're around your partner. There's no nervousness or any of those things. And so this is why a lot of times best friends or however fall in love or rise in love, I would like to say, that because, you know, people you can fart around and just be completely cool with. Why? Because that's somebody you can breathe around. And so you'll go, you know, months or years with somebody that makes you feel nervous and those butterfly feelings and all of that when you sound like you got the flu and you sound like you're sick. And so, and a lot of times you are, and that's why the relationship doesn't work. So think about that. You know, there are some people in their relationships, they always sick around each other. They always, one of them always got a cold. They just get the sneezing. Like they can't, one of them can't rest at night when they're around each other. Like your body is telling you something. Your body will always let you know when it's comfortable, which is simply spirit. It's always letting you know, I like this or I don't like this. And so that's why I say when you know yourself, you can be in better situations and you'll trust your body more about the way you're breathing. Even when you simply just going to the doctor, anything, you know, you check your breathing. You know, I don't like this. Sometimes you're not just nervous. Sometimes your body is saying, I don't like this. Let's not do that. This is a bad idea, you know. And that's why I say spirit is the unseen, can see the unseen and feel, you know, what you don't normally feel is the unfelt. And so that's why it'll put the feelings in you. You didn't feel that. And that's why I say you have to understand the barrier between the physical body and your senses. Your senses is the best thing between your physical body, and then you have your senses, and then you have internal. And that's why what you smell, what you hear, what you see is going to reflect that inside. And so that's why you have to have a good relationship between what's going on inside so it can reflect what's going on outside. If that's why I say if you smell and fart and you seeing bullshit all day and hearing, you know, this and that all day, because that's what's going on inside of you. But if you're smelling the roses and life is just beautiful and everything is colorful, then that's what's going on inside of you. And so your senses are the best thing to let you know if things are right or wrong. If you're not going to use how you feel, if you're not going to trust your intuition, trust your senses. If you're in a situation where, you know, y'all out to dinner and everybody else can smell good food and you keep smelling blood or you keep smelling like something died, like those are certain things. That's what I'm saying. And only you smell that. Trust that. You know, everybody else in the movies and everybody else having fun eating their popcorn, and you keep hearing somebody whisper, hey, yeah, trust that. And see, that's why I say, trust yourself. Because that's why a lot of us will think we're crazy and think we have mental issues and all of those things. And I'm not saying we don't need structure to the things that have happened to us as far as mental issues, but you'll conflict a mental issue for a gift. You know, and so that's why I say I just try to be very thorough about, you know, us understanding ourselves. And I'm thorough about it so you can really explain this to your children. I build with my children often about their dreams, about what's going on in their mind, their fears, what makes them happy. I want to know. I got to know right now. I got to know today what's going on in those little bodies and those little minds. It's important for me to know. And they live in my house. So I don't need no energy and no thoughts floating around my house, when, especially with the type of work that I do in my house. Like, I need to know what's going on with everybody in my house, even my cat. Like, ain't nobody getting past me. I need to know what's going on right now with everybody. And even my cat, sometimes I got to read her. Got to make sure she on my team, you know? And so, I don't, you know, you got to pay attention to things like that. But I definitely build with my children. Apologize to your children, people. All of those things are important. I'm not telling you how to raise your child. I'm telling you how to raise our child. Because it's not just your child, okay? We have to understand that when you have a child, that's not just your child. That's our child. That is the universe's child. And a lot of us have to stop being selfish about the way we raise our children, because you were raising our children for us. And they're going to be like us, and they're going to do this, and they're going to do that. And even their bad behaviors are cute and funny to us, you know, because they act like us. Because we think what we do is cute and funny, right? You're going to get your kids' ass whooped. Y'all need to start raising y'all's children for the world. You need to start raising them with a community mind, that they're going to be somebody's husband or a wife, or they're going to be somebody's mom or dad one day, and not just your child and little peanut and whatever you want to call them. And, you know, you don't want these little people, you know, to be niggas. Let's be real. All right. You want to wake them up. You want to give them power. You want to give them their rights and their privileges right now, today. Okay. And you want to let them use their powers properly, you guys. You don't want to take away anything. And so when your children are trying to express to you and talk to you about things, listen. Even when they say they have dreams or whatever, write them down. I have a whole notebook of anytime my children tell me they have a dream or a thought or anything just out of the ordinary. I'm writing it down. I write down the day and all those things. Why? Because I write down mine. And a lot of my dreams have manifested. Okay, people's deaths and the whole situation. This is why I write stuff down. And why? Because if it's my DNA, very likely I've passed that to my children, and they have very vivid dreams as well. And so you want to pay attention to that. And that's why I say, if you know you know your children. And so that goes back to children knowing their power, but parents taking one for the team, because you have a lot of parents who don't want their children to do well, or not even they don't want to. They're scared to see their children do well, right? Because they didn't do well. And a lot of times, not even that. A lot of parents don't trust themselves. So if you don't trust yourself, you don't trust your child. And so this is why you have some people who are very strict and hard on their children, right? You have to trust yourself and be confident as a parent, so you can send them out in the world and you can send them places and know that you did right by them, and trust yourself. And so parents who call their children all the time, who are hard on their children, who criticize their children and all of that, you don't trust your own parenting, and you don't trust your own work, and you don't trust your own art, and you don't think you did good. And so now you're just reinforcing that to your child. If you're confident in yourself, they chose you, right? If they say the children chose you, they're like, look, my children got good taste. First of all, okay, your children chose you. Look, my children knew what they was doing. All right? That's all I'm going to say. But if their children chose you, okay, you have to understand, you got to do your job. You got to do what's right. And they chose you for a reason. So you want to honor that. And a lot of us don't. And a lot of people haven't, or I would say a lot of our parents haven't. So that's why you have a lot of broken adults now. And a lot of us, that's why I say, will praise our abusers. A lot of us, oh, I love my mama, I love my daddy. Praising your abuser, I tell you, boy. The one who just tore you a new one, who the reason why you not shit now sometimes, some of us, are not shit ways, came from the same people we praise every day. And we're scared to talk about the things. This is why a lot of us have issues, because you're scared to talk about where your parents went wrong. All right, because that goes back to honor thy father and thy mother. And nobody wants to go to hell, do they? We don't. All right, and the hell is already there. Okay? You've already met the devil, I promise you. And so at this point now, you're trying to get back to the light. All right. And once you get to meet the devil and get to talk to him and all those good things, and y'all have y'all tea, get on back to your life, get on back to your light, get on back to now people who are going to need you because you've gotten your healing. And that's why I say when you can start talking to the demons, when you can start making them do their homework and get in here and sit down, and when you can start training the demons, not make them go away. Oh no, let's just train them, right? Because they're not going to go away. All right. Because the higher you get, they're going to always let you know they're here. So that's what I'm saying. Let's just train them. Train your dog. Don't get rid of your dog. Don't shoot the dog. Train the dog. Train the dog, and you don't have to worry about later. So that's why I say get in the preventative stages. Get to know yourself. Get to know your darkness. Understand why. And sometimes you're not going to always know why. And why is the greatest question ever asked. You're not going to always know why. And so just get to your Z. Just get to your peace. All right, get to your Zen and do that. And that's the most important thing. All is well, you guys. So I wanted to get into that. The full moon in Taurus was your seatbelt. It's letting you know that the ride is going to be bumpy for the rest of the month for some people. And so some of us are going to be the seatbelt for other people. Some of us going to need that seatbelt. And you know, there's times in your life where you have to put down pride. And so with pride and self-respect are just, you know, two things in life we're always going to have, but you can't always put down pride. Now, self-respect is your drawers. Now, you take off your drawers, now you're naked now, okay? And now you're looking crazy. But if you put down the pride, you can put that down for a second because there's always something you can put in your hand, and there's always something that you can receive when you can put down your pride for a second. And so I say that because, like I say, things that have to be revealed and things have to be seen. And some of us, it may cripple some of us. Some of us are going to need to walk, you know, with that Sagittarius season, which is talking about our strides. It's talking about our thighs. It's talking about how far we're going. And so that's why I say get small so you can get big. Just shrivel yourself down to nothing. And that's okay, because Sagittarius is going to stretch you out. And Jupiter is going to be in Aquarius next month. So a lot of people who have that in their natal chart, it's just so fantastic. I'm so excited for you guys because it's going to be your Jupiter return, and it's just going to be so amazing. A lot of people are going to get that favor they've been looking for, they've been seeking. And when you know that things are in cycles, you'll know. And so this is that season for a lot of people with that Jupiter in Aquarius, and I'm just so excited for you guys. It just means so much. But you definitely have to work on your confidence. And it's really for everybody, but I'm talking about people who had it in a natal chart. But Jupiter's going to be in Aquarius for everybody. It's coming out of Capricorn in December. And so y'all work on your confidence, because we all have to go through the crowd and like be around people, and a lot of changes are going to be taking place. And so our faith is going to be tested in a lot of things. So whatever your relationship with the divine is, strengthen it even more. Make sure you got some in your account with the divine and with the universe. So when you go through situations, you have it in your account. And so paying your dues every day and taking care of other people is definitely what gets you that spiritual credit card. And this is why you won't have any type of limits, all right, of what you can get from the universe when you pay your dues and when you pay your bills. And so all is well. So yeah, heart chakra, sacral chakra, reproductive system, urinary system, communicating properly and healing properly and being there for people, and really using that degree in family if you have one, and knowing how to be family, and knowing that universally we are connected, we are all family. And don't turn your back on your family, you know, because you think about the times when you were mentally, physically, or spiritually homeless and you needed somebody to pull you up. And so this is why that's in lower self, when you were in need, and in higher self you can provide. And when you are in higher self and you can provide, do it. It's your job. It's your duty. You're not here to be selfish. You're not here just for you. You're here for us. You belong to us. We belong to each other. Okay? I belong to y'all, and y'all belong to me. Y'all are mine. And so all is well. Peace and love, you guys, and have a good night.